Oh shit, was I muted? Yeah, I guess I was muted. Let me see. Yeah, okay. So welcome back everybody. It's been a while since the last stream. Last week I woke up late and that sort of threw everything for a loop, so I had to reschedule things to this week, which means that we should be back on the proper flow of things now. So now so this week we're just back on more Project 1 stuff, and wanted to get some things on paper first, namely some character designs I needed to get out of the way. Yeah, alright. So if that's correct, all the audio seems to be in order. Right, so first I wanted to adjust this character a bit more. Been drawing her the past few VODs, but haven't been quite satisfied with where she was at, so I wanted to edit her a bit more. So there was some because there was if some of you who know some of my other stuff, you would know that basically prior to Project 1 there was a few other kind of shorter projects that sort of built up to this, and the one before this was Our Spell is Steel, which then became sort of like its own tabletop RPG thing that I sold on itch.io. And then the previous one to that was Deathless Lily, and Deathless Lily was more of a web comic, well, not say a web comic like in a serialized way, but just like a bunch of comics with a specific cast of characters, and that one was made in collaboration with my writer friend D, who helped me with, like, who I worked with on Summoner back when I was doing the webtoon stuff. So just recently I got his blessings to reuse actually some of the characters from like Deathless Lily in like Project 1 and other stuff. So that's what I'm gonna test out this week. So a lot of the familiar characters that some of you may know, like Xian and Fenoria and other such characters, if I can actually recycle a bunch of them into this project, then that would save me a lot of time with actually having to redesign a bunch of other new designs. So that will hopefully make things a lot easier. So what I'm doing now is I'm taking one of the girls' designs and having it be around Xian. So Xian is one of the older OCs I had. I could pull some of her art up Let me find. So let's see. So Xian is this character, and this is one of the older OCs that I had. So it's a sort of like a Twin Tails mage character. So I'm thinking of reusing her for this as well. Sort of the same way as how I'm probably gonna like recycle characters like Gwyn and Sensei from our Spell Steel into here as well. So hopefully it all comes full circle. So what spawned the idea of dead gods? Well, so for the idea of like just the gods in general, I think a lot of it is influenced by Hades. So Hades, I played a lot of it back when, like around last year, and it's been definitely a very influential work in like towards my taste nowadays in regards to like how to use mythology and other stuff in my art, because I really like the idea of like, you know, this is main character who gets blessings from different gods, and then they manifest as like different abilities they can use. So it's like that idea for power system, and then which was further exacerbated, I guess, by Honkai Star Rail, and Star Rail had also something similar with like their own gods and pantheon, which also sort of had like an effect on the world and its people, and gave those people like powers and such. So I started to really like that sort of like magic system, so that's why we're doing the same thing here as well. Like so. So we'll probably get to a few of those gods a bit later in the stream after I'm done with this character. So that, if I can use her, then that means there's a lot of other characters I can use as well. I'll have to take it one step at a time. Hey Floof, welcome to the stream. Yeah, sure. You can draw whoever you like. Just, well, if it's a character from here, then obviously none of it is like finalized designs yet. But if it's anyone else that I've posted about before, then sure. No problem. Hey Kairudin, which Aeon do you like the most in Star Rail? Conceptually, I guess I like maybe the path of maybe destruction, like the idea, because path of destruction its emblem is like an exploding tower, and that's clearly like seems to be quite heavily based on like the tarot card, the Tower tarot card, which also had like a falling tower motif. So I quite liked the idea behind that. But design-wise, like the actual god itself, I think I like Yao Shi's design the most, the Abundance Aeon. And that one you can sort of look it up yourself, but it has a very, very recognizable design with like a very androgynous type god that sort of like has a nice mix between kind of an ethereal beauty, but also clearly they have like very clear supernatural traits like multiple arms and all these other things. It's one of the more inspired designs for the Aeons, I think. And speaking of which, just before the stream I was playing some Star Rail, and I had just arrived at the part in Simulated Universe. I think it was World 4 or World 5, where you actually start getting the abundance blessings, and it's quite fun. If I'm gonna design this based on Zen, then I need to pull up other design. Let me find it. If I had, so from here, this is one sketch of that design. I need to find the other one. But technically I already sort of already know what the design looks like. Maybe it could be someone else. I might have to... Yeah, I'll probably come back to this character another time. There's a few ideas I want to test out in my own time afterwards. But right now, probably bounce back to some of the god drawings I did. So I had a bunch. If you saw one of the videos I did, that sort of quickly went through each of like the gods currently in the pantheon, which so far we have around 10. I think around 10. So there's the rebel, there's the hunt or the hunter, there's the knight or darkness or whatever you call her, there's the maiden or the queen, there's the wolf, there's death, there's the witch, there is the fool, which I'm not sure if it's going to be designed yet. There's the mother, the sword, and the devourer. So all these I might add or remove some depending on which ones I end up liking more, but the ones I do like, I'm gonna start drawing them out in more detail and then coloring them, basically making finished illustrations for them. And one of them that I definitely wanna probably get started on is the devourer. This one. And all of them are based partly on certain mythological figures. If you follow some of my notes, you may know which some of them are, but basically, like in universe, their names have already been lost to time. So like the characters in universe don't really know what these gods' actual names are. Just they're more identifiable by their titles. So that's why they have like these titles to them, like the devourer and such and such. So here, but this god is sort of like how do I describe this god? It's like a dragon, but it's like a many-headed dragon that is sort of like consumes and eats basically. So it's like, you know, it's like has a lot of teeth, a lot of mouths, and it just goes around like eating people and things. Well, and there is a certain, each god does have like its own personality and like philosophy or tenets that its followers adhere to, but if I describe it here now, I think it will sort of give away what those gods are a bit too early. I'd rather have it be discovered in the course of the story itself. So right now I'm just gonna, so it's in the span of like a single day, I guess, I sort of sketched up all of these god ideas, and now I have to like start illustrating them and finishing them with like proper line art and stuff. So that's what we're gonna do basically for the rest of the stream. Yeah, I guess it's similar to the Ouroboros. A lot of gods can sort of have like multiple influences. So this one is definitely around sort of the general idea of like a consuming dragon or serpent type archetype in mythology, which is, if you look around, you'll find that a lot of mythology has these sort of common elements or threads between them that have like, you know, how, for example, there's always like a thunder god or a storm god, so it's like Thor, or there's like, who's that one? There's like Marduk from Babylonian mythology, and there's like basically a whole bunch of other figures in mythology who also can control storms and thunder. And I think this is going into like the field of comparative mythology, I think was what it was called, where the idea that the reason why these myths around the world have these common elements might be because they have a common origin. So it may have been a point in time where these gods shared the same origin, and which is why, but then as the people of the world migrated outwards and went to the other corners of the world, they sort of brought their own version of those legends with them, and that became the different gods and figures of mythology, which is an idea that always fascinated me about mythology, the idea that it all could have like a common origin point that was all perhaps based in some sort of early myth, or even based in reality in some point. Maybe it all came from a legend of a single person or king or god, and that sort of informed all the other myths about similar figures. So that's sort of an idea I've always been interested in and wanted to explore in my projects lately. So it's the same here as well. just gonna basically go down and draw every single tooth of this big boy right here. And it will be sort of like the main artwork for that card. But every single one needs to be done, which means every single one needs to be lined and colored and drawn with full detail. So it might be the topic for the entirety of this week, just finishing and coloring all of these god illustrations. So this is going to be a lot of, I guess, mindless drawing, as I'm just sort of getting all the details. It's not a lot of brain work that goes into it. So you can just leave this in the background. What I like to do is when I see other artists streaming or making videos of this nature, I like to draw at the same time, just so I have like the sort of ambience next to me. But yeah, so what I'm going to do is just gonna keep drawing like this, and if there's any comments, of course I'll be replying to them in chat, but right now I'll just be, I guess, sort of in a flow state as I get through each and every one of these gods and deities. Sort of slowly figuring out more aspects of the design as I go as well. The music is nice to listen to while drawing, yeah. I happened upon this particular track on Dova Syndrome, and Dova Syndrome is basically just like a kind of a royalty-free Japanese music site. A lot of streamers use it. Like you can see, like a lot of like Hololive streamers and all that. They use this sort of music in their background or for their on their waiting screen. So it's a very commonly used site. And then while browsing, I happened upon this particular track, which I really liked. I used it first in one of the Voyager videos, the one that was about the tabletop and explaining character creation. That was the first instance that I used it. And then since then, I sort of resolved to kind of keep using this particular track in basically all my streams, mostly out of convenience, but also I just sort of really like it and want it to be sort of remain as, like, you know, when you hear this music, you sort of associate it with my channel and the projects that I'm making. And that was the idea behind that. The spikes. Okay, I don't want the spikes. Kind of like it being this particular god was based on quite an early design I had. This is a very long ago. Back then I had a story idea that revolved around the idea of like a bunch of monsters that were themed after the 7 deadly sins in like Christian thought, or Christian tradition. And one of them, and this one, was sort of based on the design I had for gluttony, and the sin of gluttony, deadly sin, which the idea I had was basically like kind of this octopus type creature, but it had like a bunch of tentacles, and each tentacle was like a mouse, so kind of like a hydra. So I always liked that particular design, so that's why I'm sort of recycling it here as well. Maybe one day on my Patreon I'll probably actually post like some of the old sketches I had, because I still have it. It's on like one of the folders that I have, so I can show it off at some point in time to my patrons. Hey everybody, welcome to the stream. Just drawing stuff. Let's see. Meticulously adding more and more detail. Yeah, but then the idea was also for this creature was that it didn't have any eyes, because I guess it was sort of like to communicate that its gluttony was like just purely blind and mindless. So it just like ate whatever it was in its way, regardless of what it actually was. So that sort of gave me the idea of not giving it any eyes at all. It's a very recognizable look that I enjoy. Hey Devious, welcome back to the stream. Hey Zero Connect. So basically what we're drawing this week is a bunch of gods for the pantheon for Project Wand. So if you go to my channel, and check out like the shorts, I posted a short that sort of showcased a few of those gods in that pantheon. So that's what I'm actually doing here, is sort of going in, taking those sketches and drawing them out in more detail. Want to add a 5th head somewhere. Probably the top left corner. Of course, in between joining these gods, if I get sort of tired or bored in between them, I'll probably keep ping-ponging between either different gods to draw or going back to the human characters. So we'll see. I'll do this for like an hour or another half hour or so, just to make sure I get a good amount of progress down. An album called Night Side Eclipse. Probably Google it later. One thing that I'm not sure how I came across the idea in the first place, because it was something I drew. Like the initial idea for this monster dragon thing was something I came up with in high school, and the idea was always to give it like kind of human looking teeth, so you can clearly see like it has a mouth structure very similar to a human's. It's like the incisors, the canines, and the molars and premolars. I thought it was kind of freaky in like a good way, that it didn't have like the traditional idea of like, you know, just like a monster, just a bunch of sharp pointy teeth. But I like the idea that it actually had like kind of human looking teeth that kind of made it look even more uncanny and strange. That's sort of the idea behind this monster design. I think I have to add another 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's actually another set of teeth. Humans have 32 teeth, 16 on each half. So I actually need to add more, just 2 more. Look better. Makes the teeth look more compact and human-like. And extend this one. Idea behind this power system, based on some of the previous streams that we did talking about Project 1, was that each god sort of gave, so it's like a magic society with like wizards and stuff, but a lot of this magic is also tied to like the gods themselves, which means that a wizard, some wizards, not all I think, are blessed by certain gods, which means that they have certain powers that relate to that god in the pantheon. So again, like I said, how I mentioned that Hades was a big inspiration for kind of the world building here. It's the idea of like boons, basically, that these gods would give, that kind of give you abilities relating to that god. So you know, if you were blessed by like in Hades, if you were like blessed by Zeus, then you got like lightning type powers. If you were blessed by Aphrodite, the goddess of love, then you got like powers that could like charm enemies and weaken them, stuff like that. So I really liked the idea of that and wanted to sort of play around with it in my own setting with like different gods from mythology. Because another thing I really liked in Hades was the kind of implication that there were other pantheons besides the Greek one as well. So we played Hades, and there was this part where you can select different weapons, and as you evolve your weapons, these weapons actually started taking the forms of other famous weapons from different mythologies. So there was one where your sword could become Excalibur, and that was like it's called the aspect of Arthur. So, and I found that idea really cool because there was even like a spear. The spear could turn into the aspect of Guan Yu, which was the Chinese god of war. And basically the idea really intrigued me of like this sort of shared mythology. I mean, it's very similar to like God of War 2. I mean, God of War also does this sort of idea that there's like this shared mythology and these different gods actually kind of interact and know each other. So that's kind of something I really found interesting and wanted to explore here as well with my own like original pantheon and designs for my own gods. So like the main inspiration for that. It's a very cool, quite a badass premise for like to use in mythology in general, to like implement it into like the world building. So that's sort of what I intend to do with Project 1 as well, to sort of explore this aspect of this kind of flavor of world building. So effectively, Greek gods are blessing magic users with their own characteristics that are affiliated with it. Yeah, that was how it was in Hades. But here's more generally gods from different mythologies, because the setting of Project 1, it looked like the mass production Evas from Evangelion. Yeah, kind of do. That's probably I was unconsciously thinking of those as well. But yeah, the idea of like different gods giving blessings to the magic users in this setting. So what kind of powers do you suppose one blessed by a Chomper god would have? So for this one, let me think. Because this is, because I sort of, you know, obviously I know what is the mythological specific mythological figure this god is based on, and that particular god was sort of around the idea of, well, actually there's not a lot of actual text about this god. It's quite relatively well known if you're a mythology nerd, but there's not a lot said about it. But that kind of what fascinates me about them even more, because that sort of leaves a lot of room to sort of interpret what they could be about. So for here, because they're all about like teeth and bones and stuff like that, I think the powers associated with this god are sort of focused around like flesh, because it's like, you know, about eating. So it's like blood magic and like using your own blood to create weapons, stuff like that. Basically like sort of in a way consuming yourself in order to cast magic or like other things. So like using what is like sort of like using corpses or bones or blood in general to sort of cast magic. And that's sort of what this god's domain is what I'm thinking. So generally, so of course each of these gods has like a main title. So this one is the devourer, but since each god kind of encompasses quite a large domain of concepts, they will have a lot of different titles as well. So this one, then their main title is the devourer, but they sort of encompass other things like flesh, decay, blood magic, that sort of thing. So that's sort of the main identity of this particular deity. To add a fifth head somewhere. Maybe if I shift this guy a little bit further down, that'll give me some space to work with. Maybe I can move this entire head as well. This guy on a different layer, and then I can sort of figure out his exact placement. So yeah, up here. Let's place from 3D. Yeah, I was just talking about some of the lore for the pantheon here, tackling them one at a time. So today we're just doing the devourer. If we make enough progress on this, I might switch gears to a different one afterwards. Yeah, see is your connect? Neighbor's dog. Not the best time for that. Yeah, it's the next door neighbor's dog. Is the devourer like an infinitely growing monstrosity that continuously consumes everything? I guess it's up to, well, how do I put this? Because these gods are sort of like, their actual bodies are dead, and that means there's not a lot of actual history known about them prior to, you know, prior to the actual current time. So there obviously would be a lot of myths around what these gods can or can't do. So I don't really know enough to really say conclusively about like, but yeah, like the idea you're saying is sort of like kind of like an idea of like maybe like the world serpent, maybe Jormungandr, Norse mythology, which it could be. But obviously I can't we can neither confirm nor deny that right now. each of these gods, they do embody certain concepts, but I also wanted them each to have their own temperament, a personality that you only sort of understand more as the story goes on, because let's see, so you can sort of imagine it like a game, I guess, like a video game where you get certain blessings from certain gods, but then the quote unquote the playstyle or whatever of that particular god's blessing sort of gives you clues about what sort of values or qualities that the god favors. So of course, like a god of war would value things like violence and weapons and warfare, things like that. So then any blessings it would give would sort of be flavored around that idea. So, and that sort of gives you an insight of how that particular god thinks, what sort of people they favor, that kind of idea that I want to explore in this. Expand the canvas. I'll do it later. Now, maybe I have to do it right now actually. Let me open a new file. A bit more space to work with. Okay. Hey Wolf, welcome to the stream. That's the wrong name. Got off work. Good to hear. This guy a bit lower. It's like the kind of flavor behind these illustrations also are heavily inspired from like the portraits of the gods in Hades as well. So if I just like pull one up real quick, you'll see what I mean. It's like, let's see if I take so like this chaos and Dionysus from the game, and you just sort of have like this big portrait of the god in like a pose. So I'm sort of like picturing it like if, you know, it was like a visual novel or like a game cutscene kind of thing, and then you have like a portrait of like the god as it's conversing with you or as you're interacting with it. So I'm sort of picturing what that illustration might look like. Oh, you're drawing Niwa, yeah. She's the plant girl from Voyager, one of my other projects. I need to space these arms out. Yeah, I think more space is good. Sells more of the sheer scale of these creatures. Thing is, for these, I don't want them to look like heads per se. Because you know, like typically like a dinosaur or a dragon head, you would have like the heads here, and then they kind of have like this, like a T-Rex neck or whatever, that sort of like goes like this. But I kind of want it to look more like a snake head, where it's like just like a long appendage almost. So the idea, because the initial idea was like, I was talking about the idea of this old monster idea I had, which was like this sort of creature that had like tentacles, but each tentacle was like a head with teeth. So I wanted to capture that sort of serpentine motion with the heads as well. Here. Maybe I can add more arms later. Let's flesh out the arms. Goes on in the neighbor's house. That dog's always been a talkative sort. Hey Eric Roman, welcome to the stream. Just drawing a bunch of cool creatures. switch to a different piece that I want to draw. Let's see. Bunch of hands. Them to be long and spindly, a little bit unnatural looking. RWBY gets rebooted, do you think its animation style should be similar to Spider-Verse and Arcane's animation style? I don't necessarily think well, Arcane and Spider-Verse's style, which is like the kind of thing where it has like the 3D models that have like a very painted look to them. So far they've worked very well for Western animation style, with like the more realistic faces. But since RWBY has clearly more like anime style faces, I think it should probably resemble more like what you would expect from like the Trigun, the new Trigun anime, or Hoseki no Kuni, or Beastars, which is all basically made by Studio Orange, or like Guilty Gear Strive from Arc System Works, a kind of more cell shaded look to it. I think RWBY in that style will probably look really good. Yeah, Studio Orange. You can look them up, Floof. They did a lot of pretty popular anime, 3D anime at that. Didn't Man of Action do Ben 10? I think that, like the original Ben 10 cartoon. But another studio I think could really do well is the studio that did like the Rise of TMNT, as well as, did they do the Ninjago anime, or did they do like the Sun Wukong Lego anime? But that also has a very, if RWBY were to be made in like a 2D style animation, then that's the studio I would probably go for that style. But if 3D, then I'm looking more to like Studio Orange. That's my preference, at least. Thought so. So they did do Ben 10. Yeah, the action was quite good. I think one more anime style action though, I'll definitely go for that other studio that did Rise of TMNT. That's put my top dollar on. Leave this here for now. This is decent progress. Move on to something different. Let's see what else we have. Space, I can get a bit more breathing room. Let's see. bit of this one. Mother, just another one of the gods. The idea is that she is so her theme is that she is the mother of all monsters. So things like dragons, wyverns, manticores, griffins, any kind of like bestial type monster originated from this god. So that's her theme, and they all are kind of like her children basically. The thing that's supposed to be interesting about goddesses like that is that they basically provide an incentive for humans to live and providing a challenge and overcome. Well, that's kind of the idea behind like Salem and RWBY as well, right? I mean, well, maybe not Salem like canonically, but like a lot of people when they were like theorizing about Salem, was basically like this figure who is like the leader of the Grimm, and that having this sort of character sort of gives like humankind like a sort of united front against like the monsters. It gets sort of like gives a face to the threat, you can say. But here, this goddess is actually a bit more neutral, I'd say, because she views the monsters as her children and not necessarily as her servants, right? So she actually wants to like protect the monsters and stop other people from like hunting them down and killing them, even if they are like very vicious and scary. But she's very like caring and motherly towards her creations. So that's kind of the spin that I want to go with this particular goddess. basic shape down. Touch up the sketch a little bit more. I probably want to move on to characters. Brainstorm her design a bit more over time. Honestly, I'm feeling a little bit tired because I didn't quite sleep as well as I should yesterday, so I might end the stream in like half an hour, so it's about like 2 hours that we've done this. But yeah, I think I'm gonna move on to like characters possibly. Characters. Was I thinking of adding? So I was gonna add Xian. Let's see. Add her. Just a basic standing pose of her. I just want to get a drawing of her done so I can maybe get a quick color test out to see. I want to play around with color scheme a little bit and put in like an outfit, new outfit maybe. that will suit this particular setting. Yeah, sleep deprived artist, that's me. I think you are too, Wolf. If what you've posted is any indication. I guess it comes to the territory of being an artist. Gotta be sleep deprived. Some characters I want to recycle because I already like their existing designs, so it would be a waste not to use them again. I think instead of constantly making new characters, that I keep actually like reusing a lot of same characters but in like a different continuity or universe that could actually be interesting as well. So over the years, as I've designed many characters, some characters stand out more to me than most, but I like the design. Typically it's because I like the design more than some other characters. So because of that, I think I might do like some kind of weird multiverse thing where you see like the same character in like different projects, but like maybe their name is different, or maybe their whatever backstory, personality might be different as well, but they all kind of look the same. I could do that because then that also makes it easier for viewers to get attached to, because they just have to look out for like the same character archetype every time. Hey Schooner, welcome to the stream. Thanks. It's all about the eyes actually, why the expressions work. It has a lot to do with it, because my style is kind of a hybrid between anime and Western and Western animation style, because that's sort of just what I grew up with, like a mix of anime and like cartoon stuff growing up. So back then, before all this, my art style was a lot more like Western cartoon style, because I drew a lot of like I drew a bunch of like, you know, old Cartoon Network, Nicktoon stuff, and that sort of was my style for a long while. And then after I sort of picked up anime, after I picked up anime, then it sort of mixed together with that style, and then it sort of bled together into one thing. Yeah. So what I like about Xian's design that I want to recycle is I just like her hair. Xian is a very fun character for me to draw just because she has this really cool spiky hair that's like really fun to draw. So if I can give myself an excuse to draw her in like different universes, I don't see why not, because I just like drawing her hair. Sometimes you don't really need a more complicated reason than that, really. So what I like is just drawing her twin tails, stuff like that. Basically just an excuse to draw really wild spiky hair that goes everywhere. This is the same, actually this is the exact same hairstyle that I did for a recent drawing of Asuka Langley from Evangelion. So this one is basically the exact same hairstyle, and this is sort of just basically my go-to twin tails tsundere art hairstyle. Just the particular way I draw them with like a lot of like sharp points and stuff. Plus he just gives a very, of course he gives a very like distinct silhouette to the character as well. Just because of how much space their hair takes up. Get the basic shapes of a hair down first, so I want to get right to the outfit. So this character, not this wide, it's kind of slender. Okay, so if we're making outfits based on the current aesthetics that we have, that I put the drawings on. you say dead gods, does this mean there are no deities in the story, or is humanity at war with their creators? So, it means that the setting in which the story takes place is set after kind of like categorically speaking it's like post-apocalypse, but it's kind of like, well, it's just like kind of like a normal fantasy setting, but it's after, it's sort of following like a civilization that exists after there was this big war or something that happened with the gods that killed them basically. And so when they died, there's like these you can find like these corpses and relics everywhere around the world, and that basically people are sort of like finding them and using them for magic, and that's sort of like the basis for the magic system. But the gods themselves, while they're dead, like physically, their will and essence still exists in the world, so they can sort of like communicate with like the mages and other wizards in the setting using like visions and through like whatever relics they may have. That's sort of the premise. So the gods do still kind of exist, but they're kind of like a shadow of their former self. And they all have like different personalities and different reasons for why they may or may not still exist in this world. So what did I do here? So I tend to default to her normal outfit because I already have like a kind of outfit design I like for her. This is like a design that I drew way long ago, so this is sort of the design that I always stick to when drawing this particular character, which is a bunch of pauldrons and stuff. I wouldn't say they transcended, no. It's a lot more violent than that. I think the gods were very much physical beings, but then something happened, something really a monumental disaster happened, which the people in the world still don't really know what happened. It's kind of a mystery. And then basically all the gods got wiped out. And then we're sort of following the setting after all of that happened, like thousands of years after that happened. And they're kind of trying to, the sort of wizards, they're sort of trying to figure out what exactly went down while sort of like harvesting their corpses and taking the relics and stuff like that. But yeah, there's a lot of OC designs that I do want to reuse. It would be a shame to have all of them and then not like use them often. Because even with like, and if it's good enough to use in one project, I don't see why it shouldn't be used in another. Facial marking of some sort, either like a tattoo or a scar. Before this, scar prior to this. This looks I just want to redraw some of the old characters just so I can re-familiarize myself with them. So a lot of these are like formerly Deathless Lily characters, which had a short-lived existence in one project, and now that they might be coming back, I want to test around and see whether they can fit in this world or not. Next, I'm probably looking at RWBY. RWBY is another character who was sort of the de facto protagonist of Deathless Lily. Yeah, RWBY, one of the older OCs. Yeah. It's well, that's I think because it's shading, not necessarily it's I would say it's two-tone. It's just the shading. But yeah. Might be. I don't know if she is the protagonist yet. Because I have a few options. I guess by default, it might be Audrey or it might be another girl I have in mind. Could be both actually. Both of them are like protagonists. Yeah, Wolf. If you just recycle all your OCs that you liked, then you won't have to spend all that time trying to come up with new ones every project. I think at first I thought I felt iffy about it because, you know, obviously recycling characters for completely different projects seems a bit weird. Because, you know, there's like completely different continuity and stuff. But at some point you just have to kind of say like, screw it and just draw whatever you like. Because I already have too many OCs that I already like. I don't want to spend more time redesigning them than necessary. Plus it's for the convenience of the viewer as well, like my followers who know my OCs, because then it's easier for them to follow who is who, and because there's quite a few fans of Audrey among my followers and my server especially, and of like some of the other Deathless Lily characters, so I hope I can reuse them. I don't like this. Let me draw this. Yeah, drawing cute girls and abominations of nature. That's what I love drawing. It's like it's kind of why I like RWBY as well, because RWBY lets me draw like all the cute girls, but also lets me exercise my monster drawing muscle. That's for all the grim designs that I can make and stuff like that. So I used to draw a lot of monsters in back in like high school and stuff like that. A lot of dinosaurs and stuff. So I always liked drawing monsters, but of course now I like drawing cute girls as well. So this project in a way is just kind of basically just an excuse for me to be able to draw both by having it be part of the story, but at the end of the day, it's just an excuse to draw cute girls and cool monsters. The character I want to draw after RWBY. Ouch. Yeah, sometimes I get the expression I want right away. Sometimes I'll just be undoing every like 10,000 times just to get the right mouse or eye that I want. Usually are just cute girls or massive stick figure battles. Yeah, I did that too. I like drew it on my table, on my school desk. But yeah, I do. Oh shit! I need to zoom out. The proportion's not correct. I used to draw. No, I do still draw guys. I do, make sure that I am able to draw guys if I need to. But drawing girls is just so much more fulfilling. Although I do want to have some guy characters, obviously, because my entrepreneurial spirit necessitates that I do design some guy characters for, half the world likes guys, so, and half the world likes girls, so I should cater to both. RWBY is another character I like drawing, because in truth, if you know the character that she's directly based on, you'll know that she just basically looks like a carbon copy of that character. But I guess over time, and just from like interpreting her into my style, I just sort of ended up really liking this OC. I hope I can use her more often. You gotta have that occasional guy for your audience to self-insert themselves into. No self-inserts. If there's a guy, it's not for you to self-insert into, it's for you to simp over. That's the idea. Because if I'm gonna draw a guy, it better at least be a hot one to justify the inclusion. about it. How did I draw her hair? It's poofier than this. Seems about right. For her, she has this choker thing. Let me keep my water. Yeah, eyes on guys a bit tougher because I guess normally they're a bit, you would draw them a bit smaller. So girls, you want to kind of give them typically the cute bigger eyes. We are placing the eyes on guys a bit tougher. But then again, I draw less guys than girls, so maybe it's just a matter of practicing more. This is Audrey. And then another character that I wanted to recycle was Cat. Now Cat is a very old character that I have, very old OC. That one I've always wanted to reuse it for something. Maybe I can recycle here as well. been quite a long while since I drew a cat. Maybe after I'm done drawing cat, I'll conclude the stream. So cat, it's a very old OC I made at least 5 years ago, I think, no more. She's sort of like kind of like a playful trickster type character. I had a lot of ideas for her. She sort of kind of cropped up in a lot of different projects, so maybe she might end up appearing in this one as well. Okay. Bunch of characters, or OCs rather, I might need to eventually make some sort of group picture or guide. So I shouldn't expect all my followers to know who all of them are. So some kind of guide, a reference guide for them. One of the big reasons why I like drawing cat is because much like Zen, I just like drawing her hair a lot. I don't know how it came about. It was kind of a happy accident when I first kind of figured out her hairstyle, but ever since then I always enjoyed drawing her hair. It's like her hair kind of has this, it's like just like one big sheet. It's like it's very 2D feel to it. It's like one flat plane, almost like a cape kind of hairstyle. And I always kind of like that appearance to it, because what I like is that, because normally for like, you know, the classic anime dark haired girl hairstyle would have, like, you know, the hime cut with the flat bangs and then the kind of long straight hair, which kind of ends up being pretty generic looking for most characters that have it. It's such a common hairstyle that the only way you can really tell them apart tell characters apart that have that hairstyle is through just like normally like the art style. So if you can sort of recognize the character's art style from that particular show or anime or manga or whatever, then you will be able to know why I like Cat is because it's sort of that same style of long black haired girl, but there's a much more interesting silhouette to her hair that I liked, which I kind of stumbled upon by accident. I was just sort of like, I guess I was just sort of like doodling her one day, and then the hair just kind of came out that way. But ever since then, I've always really enjoyed drawing her. But now I'm kind of out of practice with her. It doesn't quite look the same as how I normally draw her. Need to practice her again. Also, I quite like this outfit for her. If I could recycle the outfits as well. Maybe it could work actually, but as long as I maintain the same aesthetic as the other characters have, it's like the wizard robe thing, I think I could probably recycle some of these designs quite smoothly without having to change or redesign too much. Other characters are there that I want to recycle. That was Gwen. I already recycled Gwen. Gwen and Sensei also. Then I wanted to also recycle one last character. So this character is one of the girls from our spell is steal. So our spell is steal didn't necessarily have a story or main cast, but it did have some character designs in it that I liked, and probably the one that I want to keep the most, besides Gwen and Sensei, is this other character. Basically like kind of this Asian looking girl. This girl. Okay. So for her, she's also another one of these protagonist candidates. So more of a shy, socially awkward girl archetype. She doesn't have a name yet, or rather, doesn't have a finalized name. At the moment, her name is Alexis, but I might end up changing it down the line. Whether or not the glasses or not. On and off. Try the round glasses as well. Gives it that shy, nerdy look. Looks good with and without. Have these different characters, and then from there I'll need to figure out whether I can recycle them into this project or not. Because they all came from very different projects. If I can perhaps make them all merge together well, then we may have something here. But I think that would be it for this stream. Just a lot of sketching and doodling, but it's been nice. It's been nice chilling with you all, getting some work done, especially. I'm gonna stream again. stream again at basically tomorrow and the next day, same time. So as usual, I'm gonna try to stream 3 days a week and then continue working on project 1 and other stuff basically. So with that said, for all of you who came to watch, thank you so much for continuing to watch and support my work. Of course, all the Discord server and Twitter all in the description. You'll find it, and along with the links to my Patreon, coffee, and all that other stuff. Other than that, thank you all for coming, and I'll see you again tomorrow.